Log is easy by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com. Take charge of your health now by calling 800-340-7091 or see Calvin on the web at 5starsoap.com.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Well, we just had Congressman Ron Paul on with us in the last hour. Now we're still broadcasting at prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com. The official radio broadcast is over, but a lot of times we end up going into overdrive, as you know. I'm going to do a whole hour of overdrive today because I haven't even gotten into the incredible TSA developments in detail here in Texas and what that means. Dollar seen losing global reserve status. Louisiana Supreme Court allows vehicle searches on a hunch, and it continues on from there. We also have other reports here where Maryland adds environmental literacy in high schools. That means eugenics, anti-human literacy. See, they fill it all up with political correctness and gender this, and school is a brainwashing facility to be a globalist. They don't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, and that's why we're behind the whole world now, every industrialized nation and many third world nations, by design. We've interviewed former heads of policy at the Department of Education, the former head of education in New York, others, who this is the plan, and it's worked. Okay? Now, shifting gears for the next 30 minutes, Webster Tarpley joins us from Tripoli, that's been under 3+ months of bombardment, to give us what's really happening there. I will open the phones up in the next segment after Tarpley's had a chance to give us a report for any questions you have on Libya specifically. Quick questions for Tarpley because of time, but we want to hear from you. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Webster Tarpley, good to have you pop in with us today.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Good, man.
Well, we're hanging on here. The BBC is hyping some great gains by the rebels a little bit southwest of here. People here are very skeptical about that. The BBC has a track record of taking these manic statements by the Benghazi Rebel Council and putting that on the air. Rather, there's here I think a great deal of confidence by the Libyan government that the rebellion in the city of Misrata was that it's in its final throes. In other words, that it's going to be over there in something like 7 to 10 days, and that was an important place for the rebels to go into because that is the steel mill. That is one of the biggest steel mills in Africa, and it is, as far as I know, capable of manufacturing the biggest steel tubing in the world, and this has to do with the Gaddafi project, right? Infrastructure project called the Great Man-Made River, which is $32 billion, taking the water from under the Sahara Desert and piping that north towards Tripoli, Benghazi, and the other cities. So that, in Yemen, we're told that within a couple of years, there's going to be no water in Yemen. And the guy that I heard talking about this, the expert, anyway, said that that doesn't mean a shortage of water, but actually no water. So the future of human life in Yemen may be very dubious, but in Libya, it is assured, at least in the sense of water. And you've got to put in water as one of the main things that these NATO imperialists and
they've said that's the next thing they're going after globally is the blue gold. For those that don't know, 50,000 years ago, they know the Sahara was full of lakes and crocodiles and hippopotamus and all of it, and that the water went underground with desertification, and that it's there, and Gaddafi's bringing it up and becoming a spoke for development all over Africa. That can't be allowed.
Right, so that's the vendetta they have going. So one of the key key parts of that project. Instead of just importing the stuff, they said, let's build our steel mill here in Misrata, right on the coast. You can get the raw materials in, but then we'll manufacture these huge tubes. So not Mannesmann of Germany, usually the gold standard for steel tubing, not somebody in Japan or in the Far East, but Libya, which had been one of the poorest, if not the poorest, certainly in Africa, maybe the world.
Stay there, Webster. Let's break it all down and where this is going and how he's handing out millions of firearms. Stay with us. There's a man named Dr. Wallach who is anything but your typical doctor. Both a veterinarian and naturopathic physician, Doc asks, why does the United States spend more money on health care by far and still rank 50th in health and longevity worldwide? He believes that people should empower themselves with a basic understanding of nutrition, taking charge of their life, and attain optimal health and longevity through nutrition, not by toxic prescription drugs leading to side effects. This is clearly a deadly recipe. The good news is Doc Wallach's message is resonating with an increasing number of Americans who are waking up to all the big government and big pharma manipulation of our healthcare system. I like what Doc Wallach is saying and doing to enlighten people about healthcare and have joined forces to help this tireless crusader spread his message. Visit InfoWarsTeam.com and listen to Dr. Wallach's Deadly Recipes lecture. It makes a lot of sense, and I want you to join our InfoWars team. Go to InfoWarsTeam.com. That's InfoWarsTeam.com. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As they're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv.
You know that drinking pure, high-alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health, and most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of most alkaline minerals available. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins and acid, helping you to regain your energy and health. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body to rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen, and raises the pH of your body to optimal levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKA Vision.com, or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com.
From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back live with Webster Griffin Tarpley joining us from Tripoli. We've got some questions from listeners out there, so it's not just old Alex Jones bringing up points. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. Webster's leaving us at the bottom of the hour, and I'm going to get into a whole bunch of other news I haven't covered yet and also take some of your calls. But Webster, continuing, they want the water, they want the trillions in oil. Obviously, Madsen talked about, and I've seen some of this in the news, that billions of dollars of Libyan government oil money that was invested with Goldman Sachs and others and Sarkozy was stolen, has been swindled. So they have another reason. It's more like a mafia hit taking him out. We have a constitutional crisis. Ron Paul, the congressman, the presidential candidate, agreed with us last hour that this is impeachable offense against Obama. But the ruling class has gone collectively mad dog with hubris, or is it desperation? I want your view on that, where they are just getting more and more crazy, more and more out in the open, more and more naked, brazen, whatever you want to call it. Why is this being done?
Well, that's just on the Obama issue. Remember, he's now long past the deadline on the War Powers Act, so that means he is impeachable. So please add that one to the bill of impeachment, along with a number of other charges. We just passed 100 days of bombing, and people here have compared this to the bombing of Serbia back in 1999, went on, I believe, and it is believed here, for 68 or 69 days. And, of course, in that situation, there was no ground war. So Libya has successfully stood up under 100 days of NATO bombing with the attacks of al-Qaeda terrorists masquerading as pro-democracy rebels here on the ground. So Serbs, of course, notoriously tough, but the conclusion is Libyans even tougher. So if you look at Libya, I think this is the last place in the world anybody would want to invade. And just a couple of other things historically. Libya is the country which was the victim of the first military use of poison gas was by Italian colonialists against Libya in the years after 1911. And in the course of an anti-colonial struggle, the Libyans had approximately 1 million casualties, unbelievable excesses of the Italian imperialists at that time. So what it shows you is that there's no limit to this resistance, and the cohesion of it, of course, coming from the tribes. This included standing up against an electrified fence and minefield that went over just about if not the whole length of the border between Libya and Egypt, but a lot of it. So that's one thing. Now, in terms of the insanity of the ruling class, I have to point out the International Criminal Court, so-called, and this guy Ocampo, this scoundrel, right, this faker, who has organized that thing into a kangaroo court internationally, right? We're still waiting for the indictment of Bush, of Rumsfeld, of Cheney, of Wolfowitz, all the neocons who schemed to bomb Afghanistan and then to invade Iraq. Then no indictments on 9/11 crimes or anything like that. But Ocampo sees it as his job to go after the people who resist this imperialist power, be it General Bashir of Sudan or Milosevic. And the case of Milosevic of Serbia also reminds us that this place it's a murder incorporated in its own right, that you get Milosevic there and then he mysteriously dies of an unexpected heart attack. So as of
they gave him anteater poison.
Something like this. So they've put out an indictment of Colonel Gaddafi, his son Saif, that is the surviving son Saif, because the other one was killed with the same name, right? Saif al-Arab, Saif al-Islam. The surviving one is also indicted, and a guy called Sanusi, who's the security chief. And this has got all of these accusations. The stuff that this is based on is complete fabrication and complete hearsay. What happened in the middle of February 12th, 13th, 14th, was that you had mobs of these rebels, right, under al-Qaeda leadership, storming military bases and arms depots, especially in the Benghazi area, with the goal of starting off not armed, but to get armed as soon as they could, with the various machine guns, bazookas, RPGs, tanks of any kind, artillery. So they might have been disarmed or unarmed at the beginning, but they didn't stay that way for long, and the goal was to have an armed rebellion. So there is absolutely no evidence that the Libyan government was wantonly out there, shooting at civilians who were carrying out a peaceful protest. In fact, quite the contrary, that there were peaceful protests that were going on that were somehow used as the screen to begin some of these things, right? To get people together, because there had been peaceful protests every week or so for some economic grievance or something like this, very limited, and that then became the screen to go after them. So this is one side. The other side is this